was something acute, whether I sneezed or whether I coughed, but all of a sudden it just felt like excruciating pain. Got continually worse from that point down the arm and the nerve pain, obviously where the nerve runs, but I could tell it was from my neck. Something was definitely wrong in there. I started playing the piano at 5 years old, and my mother played, and her grandfather, Floyd J. St. Clair, was a composer for symphonies. He would write the full scores out by hand like they used to do, and he was also the guest conductor of the Cleveland Symphony Orchestra. So I've pretty much played my whole life. Played here at Eaton High School over 20 years for musicals for the high school and for their choirs.
My name is Mark Hoeprich, and I'm a neurosurgeon here at Kettering Health. With her severity being that it wasn't just affecting sensation to her arm and hand, and it wasn't just a pain issue, but rather it was a loss of function issue. As surgeons, that makes us really kind of sit up and take notice that something needs to happen more urgently. It was that loss of function, that weakness, and loss of dexterity in her hand that made us more concerned and kind of needed to address this a little bit quicker than our typical scenario.
And I remember the day I was sitting at my piano at home. It was all the way down my arm and my hand wouldn't move. And I sat there, I thought, gosh, I'm never gonna be able to play the piano again. So it was kind of emotional for me. The x-rays showed that my C5, 6, 7 had collapsed and was actually angled the wrong way, and it was leaning right into my spinal column and was causing all the pain.
The procedure she had was a spinal decompression and arthroplasty. The main goal of the surgery is to remove that pressure. Now, in her case, we had to do that by removing some disc material that cushions between the two bones of the spine, or in her situation, between both levels. There were 2 levels involved.
The amazing thing, when I woke up, not only was there no pain, I could use my fingers. The problem on the piano was a lot of times your hands have to move fast, and I couldn't coordinate that hand when all the pain was going down into that, and that was really, really scary. And I did. I really thought possibly I'd never play the piano again. I couldn't be more appreciative. What my husband said to me, and he gave your life back. He gave your life back. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to be able to do all these things that I was afraid I wouldn't be able to do.
I was hopeful, just kind of knowing Janet for the short amount of time that I did, I could see that she was very determined and was going to be a great patient. So, I was pretty confident she was going to do well.
What would have happened if I wasn't able to get into a good surgeon like Dr. Hoeprich, and he got into somebody who didn't have the skills to do what Dr. Hoeprich did on it's very scary to think about. I highly recommend Kettering Health to any and all my friends, and you're really lucky at Kettering to have someone like Dr. Hoeprich. I couldn't thank him enough.